members of the public, our Weber County folks with us. It's Tuesday morning, the 7th day of April, 2020, just slightly after 10 o'clock. This is the Board of Commissioners of Weber County, and this is a regular commission meeting that will be hosted on our Zoom interactive video. So we appreciate everybody's attendance. And we're going to start with an invocation by Ricky Hatch. Ricky, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Our kind Heavenly Father, we approach Thee this morning with gratitude and humility, thankful for the tremendous blessings we have to live in this country, in this county. We are thankful for the divinely inspired framework of government that we live under and that we are part of. We ask that Thou wilt help us today to make our decisions based off of true principles of liberty and with inspiration from Thee, keeping in mind all of the different and sometimes conflicting needs of our citizens and business partners. We pray for guidance in this area. In this particular time of crisis, Father, with the COVID-19 virus, we ask that Thou wilt please provide relief to those who are suffering, physically, emotionally, economically. Pray that Thy comfort and blessings will come down upon them and upon us as a nation and us as humankind. And in as much as we, as individuals and as a governmental entity, can provide relief to others, we pray for inspiration on how to best do that. We love Thee. We thank Thee for so many blessings that we have and for Thy goodness. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Thank you. Let's now go to Commissioner Harvey for Thought of the Day. Commissioner Harvey, good to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you. Hey, I was watching TV on Saturday around noon, and I just learned that we couldn't choose the timing of precious moments. You can't choose the timing of precious moments. And as I started watching TV, there was a program that aired on KSL that talked about some storms and earthquakes that had come across Puerto Rico and how it devastated the country. And as I got watching the program, all of a sudden, Ron Batt, who was a resident of Uinta, showed up on the TV, and I thought, holy mackerel. And what he'd done is he'd gone down there he'd taken off a couple of weeks from work, and he went down there and decided that he was going to do some service projects and stuff for the people of Puerto Rico. And, and Ron's kind of a man of many talents, and he went down and did what he could and came home. And when he went back to work, he says, I can't sit here and continue doing what I'm doing. And his mind kept going back to Puerto Rico. And so he made arrangements with his job, and he went back to Puerto Rico with just some clothes and some a little bit of construction material, and went down and started sleeping on the floor and doing some different things, and started organizing some friends. And then pretty soon, there's old Hal Van Meter on the TV. Hal worked around Ogden for a long time. He gave service in the public sector forever. Pretty soon, then we saw Mayor John Beasley was down there. He'd gone down several weeks later and joined in the construction efforts. And I thought to myself, of all places in the world, Puerto Rico, and of all communities throughout our United States, for our little Weber County to be represented from Uinta on one side, Plain City on the next, and downtown Ogden on the other, I was really, really proud of us. And I thought, we always hear that our people in Weber County give the most. They're the most charitable. They give more time and volunteer than anybody else in the country. Any other community, our people give more than anybody else. And, and you think, well, that's just the marathon, or that's just coming together of the trains with the sesquicentennial celebration. But it also has to do with people in Puerto Rico. And, we go back to, we can't choose the timing of precious moments. Call a disaster what you will. But what a precious moment that was for me to sit there and watch people serve others. And I'm not just grateful for those three that were mentioned, but also all the others that were in the video from around here and their families for the sacrifice they've made. And I extend that now, commissioners, to our healthcare professionals right now, our first responders, even the people in the grocery stores who are going, and the truck drivers getting the food there, and the farmers and everybody else contributing while our economy is taking a hit. But we're still alive. We're still able to view. We're in a miraculous time right now. And what a precious moment that is for me. And I just, I wanted to relay that this morning. It came to me with a lot of, with quite a bit of strength. I just was grateful to be able to sit in that time right there and be able to experience. So that's my thoughts today, commissioners. And I hope that my articulation's well received this morning, because it's great to serve. Appreciate
Great.
that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey. Very well said. I think it's no question. We are a state, a county of givers. And I think this is an opportunity for us to really express that and enjoy that as a community, as tough as times are right now. So appreciate your comments very much. I believe we have Commissioner Jenkins with us now.
I'm here. I apologize for being a couple minutes late. Anyway,
welcome.
I'm here.
Okay,
yes.
Let's move on. Again, we've done the welcome public comments. On the agenda, anybody that would like to submit comments on one of the agenda items, we've asked that you email those comments on or before 9 a.m. to Stacy here at the office, shallisey@webercountyutah.gov. I don't see anything on my desk, Shelley, that came in. What I'm going to also say, anybody that's participating with this Zoom, you have the chat capability. If you want to send a question under the chat format, we're happy to look at that. If we have an opportunity during the commission meeting to answer that, we're happy to do that. If we can't, we will please leave your email, and we'll definitely get back to you within a 24-hour period of time. So if it's a question we can answer, we're happy to do that. If it's a question that would require some type of research, we're happy to do that as well. Please give us 24 hours notice or 24 hours to get that response back to you. With that, anything from the commissioners before we move on to consent items? Any additional
None from me.
comments?
None from me.
Thank you. So what we're going to do is, commissioners, member of the public, staff, we're going to move on to consent items. And then we're going to have Ricky discuss these as far as the warrants. So consent items, agenda item E-1 would be request for approval of warrants number 2615 through 2637 and 448-624 through 448-769 in the amount of $330,231.52. Consent item 2, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $61,007.28. Number 3, request for approval of minutes for our meeting held on April 7th, 2020. That was last Tuesday. 4, request for approval of the ACH payment to U.S. Bank in the amount of $136,687.48. Those are our P card charges. 5, request from Weber County Golden Spike Event Center for approval to surplus concession stand equipment. And last, 6, request for approval of an amendment to a contract by and between Weber County and LexisNexis to increase inmate access to the library. Commissioners, comments, questions on the consent item before we move on to Ricky?
Just commissioners, responding to item number 5, the surplus for concession stand equipment. As I'm remembering some of that concession equipment, and as I look there, that was refurbished equipment back in 1988, 89 when the Golden Spike Event Center were open, some hot dog rollers and things like that. It's beyond its useful life, especially with as many events as they've done and been hauled back and forth. And so it's just as they're doing a lot of the refurbishment of the concession stands and things out there right now, they're just making sure that things are as good as they can be. So when it's reopened, that we'll have a great and safe, clean environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Jenkins?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'd make a motion that we approve I'd make a motion we approve the consent items.
Okay, we got a motion.
Commissioners,
Second.
Commissioners, item 3 is actually March 31 minutes,
Oh,
not today's minutes.
Okay. I'm getting a week ahead of myself. So
Sorry, caught up in the moment, but that's right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's today.
That's today, March 31st. So that's a correction. So we had a motion by Commissioner Jenkins, second by Commissioner Harvey. Before I place that motion, Ricky, do you want to go through the warrants and purchase orders before we place that motion, please? You may want to unmute yourself there. There you go.
There we go. Sorry about that. We issued 11 purchase orders this week for the $61,000. 28% of that amount, or $17,000, is for the library. That will purchase equipment for the makerspace. And then we had 2 for about a quarter of 25%, or $16,000 or $15,000. One was for IT, and that will go towards purchasing laptops as well as switches. And then $15,000 for the jail, and that will purchase inmate trays. As far as checks go, we issued 163 checks for $330,000. We had 2 items that were accounted for 22% of that amount, or $73,000. One was for the jail, and that was spread between food, utilities, final payment on the camera system, some building maintenance, and then medical services and supplies. And then the library also for their Ogden Valley branch flooring, some building maintenance, books and materials, and utilities. And then 7%, or $23,000, was for the health department, and that was for vaccines. And that's all.
Thank you. So any questions on that, commissioners, before I place the motion?
None from me.
Thank you. So Commissioner Jenkins, all those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Consent items are approved as amended with the March 31st date versus the April 7th date. So let's go to action items. Action item 1 would be a request for approval of a resolution of the County Commissioners of Weber County approving the 2019 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program Annual Report. And I've got down here Chad Meyerhofer as Chad. Are you with us? Somebody presenting for Chad?
Can you hear me now,
There
Commissioner?
you go.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Chad,
Perfect.
go ahead.
All right, thanks, Commissioners. Yeah, what you have before you is the 2019 Municipal Wastewater Planning Program Annual Report, where we go through and kind of review our wastewater system financially and the condition of the system and any problems that may have arose over the last year. And then this information submitted to the state. We're fairly lucky with most of our infrastructure out there where it's fairly new. We haven't had too many problems, maybe a few minor infiltration areas. But overall, we're looking pretty good with everything. So unless you have any questions, I'd ask that you approve this report. So
Thank you. Commissioners, questions, comments?
I'm good with it on this particular one. I don't have any questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Chad. Commissioner Jenkins?
Nope. I'd make a motion to approve the wastewater annual report from Chad Meyerhofer.
Thank you for that. We have a motion by Commissioner Jenkins. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Harvey. I believe this is a roll call vote. Is that correct, since it's a resolution?
Yes.
Bottom up.
Yes.
Okay.
Commissioner Harvey,
Aye.
Commissioner Jenkins,
Aye.
Chair Farrar.
Aye, thank you.
Resolution 9.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Let's move on to action item F2, request for approval of an ordinance of the County Commissioners of Weber County establishing a procedure to provide temporary relief from business personal property tax penalties and interest due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And our presenter on that would be John Ulibarri. Mr. Ulibarri, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Commissioners.
Go ahead, John.
Good morning. As you know, the pandemic has had a negative effect on businesses large and small worldwide. This certainly has had an effect on our businesses in Weber County. In spite of this, the calendar continues to move on. May 15th is a statutory deadline for businesses to file and pay their business personal property taxes. State law dictates that businesses that do not meet this deadline are required to pay a penalty for not filing and interest on the amount due. While the County Commission does not have the authority to move the deadline, Utah Code Annotated 59-2-1347 does give the Commissioners the authority to take action if that action is in the best human interests and the interest of the state and the county are served. In an effort to provide some temporary relief, what we have for you, what we have before you today is a temporary ordinance that will defer the penalties and interest until August 15th of this year. While we encourage those who can file to do so by May 15th, this in effect will remove the penalty and interest for those who cannot meet the statutory deadline. We are requesting that the Commission adopt this ordinance on the first reading so we may begin to disseminate the information to our customers as soon as possible. I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you, John. So just refresh my memory. I believe that this would apply to business personal property above, was it the $10,000 limit? I know that we toyed with that at the state for a number of years. Can you refresh the dollar amounts on that, the businesses that would be impacted by this?
Commissioner, I believe it's now $15,000. Everybody that has a taxable value greater than $15,000 is required to file. Everybody below that line is not, so this would not affect them.
Got it. But we still have a substantial number of businesses in Weber County that are probably above that watermark. Would that be correct?
Oh, certainly. Yeah, we have several thousand.
Yeah, got it. Okay, Commissioners, questions, comments?
John, the question I have is, why did you choose August 15th? That's 120 days. Why not 90? Why not July 15th?
Well, we pushed it back. The deadline is May 15th, so we pushed it back an extra month past the income tax, essentially. We followed the lead of the tax commission and just pushed it back that number of days.
Okay, so it essentially is 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Commissioner Harvey, questions, comments?
No, I love that, again, we've got people over there at the assessor's office being proactive and looking for ways to help businesses. I love that our all Weber County seems to be business minded now, and I think that's great. Thank you.
And I would agree with that. I think the more we could do for these struggling businesses, this is something that as we get through this pandemic, dollars are obviously of top concern to keep people employed. So in my opinion, we should do everything we can under state statute to give these businesses a handout whenever possible. So, John, I appreciate your proactive look at this. And with that, I would look for a motion, Commissioners.
I would make that motion. Well, go ahead, Commissioner Harvey.
No, I'll make the motion that we approve the ordinance establishing a procedure to provide temporary relief from business personal property taxes and interest due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Harvey. We have a second by Commissioner Jenkins. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's a roll call vote. Go ahead. Put them on. Oh, you better unmute yourself.
Commissioner Harvey?
Aye.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Aye.
And Chair Four?
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. John, good luck in getting that word out. I would suggest we also get this information to Sasha so she can put this in, and also our economic development folks. I think this is great for Weber County to step out and be proactive on this, John. I appreciate your work. With
Thank
that,
you, Commissioner.
Action item F3, request for approval of contract by and between Weber County and Rocky Mountain Power for work related to the relocation of power poles and power lines in the Weber Center's east parking lot. That has to do with our parking terrace, I believe. Scott Mendoza, you're up. Scott, I think I saw you on there. You with us, Scott?
I don't see him on there. Oh, there he is too. He's there.
Yeah.
My screen says that he's connecting to audio right now, Commissioners.
Okay. We'll give him a second. I'm hearing a phone ring. I don't know if that's... Shelley, we getting him on the line? Do you know?
I am calling him.
Okay. I show that he's coming up here as a participant, but I'm not showing that he's got communication.
Commissioners,
Yes.
I'm going to put Scott on speakerphone.
Hey, Scott, come on in here real quick.
Hey, Sean.
Yes.
I will just call back and on his line.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, good one.
All right.
Hello, Shelley.
Hey, Scott.
I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Scott.
I don't know why, but I'm having some audio trouble here.
Can you all hear him?
We
Yeah.
got you.
Okay.
Go ahead, Scott. We're talking about the Rocky Mountain Power.
Yes. Okay, commissioners. Thank you. Sorry about that audio trouble. I'm not sure what was going on there, but as you're aware, the county's taking some steps towards demolishing its parking structure here at the Weber Center, and obviously relocating some utilities as part of that overall project. So what you have before you today is a contract that's been provided by Rocky Mountain Power. And what we're asking them to do is basically remove two power poles. Those two power poles sit very close to the retaining wall that's near the east side of the parking structure. So what we're asking them to do is remove those two power poles, install one new power pole, and relocate a new power line that will cross the east parking lot to a point where it can continue to provide power to some neighbors that we've got to the east of us. In your packets, commissioners, you do have a drawing that illustrates this work, and this work has been quoted as being $11,361. So if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer those for you.
Give us that number again, Scott.
It's $11,361 total.
Got it. Okay. Questions, commissioners?
I have a question. I thought we had a contract with Rocky Mountain where they would relocate poles for us at no charge. Scott?
I'm sorry, Shirley, that audio kind of faded. What was the question?
He said he thought that we had a contract with Rocky Mountain Power where they would remove poles at no charge.
I'm not aware of that contract. I'd be happy to look a little more into that. We've been working with Rocky Mountain Power for over a year now, and they had never mentioned anything like that.
Okay, I must be incorrect then.
Sean, are you on? We have Sean Wilkinson on? I guess not. We should probably check into that, commissioners, but I wasn't aware of that either.
Will you
Commissioner
check
Hart?
into that, Scott?
Oh, you know what? I was just speaking to Sean, and he said that was a situation where it was within a right of way and not
Oh.
on the county's property.
Okay,
Got
That may
that mixed
explain
up.
that.
Okay. Okay, additional questions, comments, commissioners? Seeing none, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make that motion that we approve that contract as read or presented.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey makes a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Jenkins. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Unanimous. Any additional business, anything I missed, Shelley? I've got the written agenda here. I don't know if there's something added to this. I'm showing that's the last
I'm
thing.
aware of.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners' comments. Commissioners? Commissioner Harvey? It's good to see you so bright and early.
So, there's to answer a couple of the comments that have come online, and commissioners, we can all probably speak independently of this, but there's some comments. Why doesn't Weber County totally shut down? Why don't we even need to stop having these meetings? Why do we stop why don't we stop building permits and why don't we stop treasurers, and why don't we stop auditors and clerks and Ricky, you being here, or Chris, or any of the others? Maybe we ought to answer those questions for some of those people online who have some concerns why we're even holding this meeting today.
I'm happy to answer a little bit. For the most part, our office is closed to the public. However, there are some emergency situations which you would never think would happen, but in a county with 260,000 people, strange things can happen. As an example, we have issued marriage licenses before for couples who had lived together unmarried for 20, 30 years, who all of a sudden one of their health is failing. And as a couple, they said, if I'm going to pass away, I want to make sure that you get legal right to everything I have. And so they say, well, we would like to get married. And so that's an example of an emergency type situation where someone needs something that you would think is not an urgent need. Marriage license, maybe it could wait a couple months, but we have a few situations like that. We probably issue 1 to 2 marriage license records a day. Our passport facilities of processing has slowed. It's virtually completely shut down. The State Department has shut down just about all of theirs. For ours, it's basically a life or death situation that requires travel. We haven't had any of those yet, but we're open because if that need is there, we're happy to help facilitate that. Our elections office is pretty much, they're doing everything remotely right now, and there's just a little bit of elections work. Signature gathering continues, but not too much. From a purchasing and an accounting perspective, those are crucial things that need to keep going. We have to pay the bills. We have to buy things to help respond to the virus. And so those are still essential functions.
Thank you for that, Ricky. Commissioner Harvey, do you have anything else to add to that? Or?
Well, I think also within the building community, I know some people have been building homes for 6 to 8 months, and there's permits, there's inspections, there's engineering, there's essential services that are going on. So we have scaled way back. We've been really, really responsible. Our big thing is that we're keeping our staff safe. Through this, I can point out having responsibility over the Culture Parks and Recreation, which takes care of the Piers Egyptian Theater and the Ice Sheet and the Ogden Eccles Conference Center and the Golden Spike and the parks. They're all practicing great things, and they're using great social distancing, but they're also getting some much needed projects done where you can't get done with a big crowd. And so I'm proud of our staff and what we're doing to protect them and what they're doing to keep employed so that the economic doesn't hit them as hard as well. We're keeping the economy moving.
And I think you're exactly right. Commissioners, I think you realize as much as I do. Every day we receive emails from a segment of the population that ask us to shut down everything. We receive emails at the opposite side that says, why are you shutting everything down? You've gone too far. In my opinion, commissioners, I think we've done a very good job of analyzing the data out there, of looking at our small businesses that do provide essential services, and making sure that we give them the opportunity to at least maintain some level of service so that when we come out of this pandemic, which we will, that the hole that they have to come out of is not as deep as if we completely shut them down. So in my opinion, I think, and obviously the government side is slightly different than the private side, but I feel we've done an excellent job of balancing that as we move forward through this next week, 2 weeks, whatever the time frame. We will continue to evaluate those options, which we're doing on a daily basis. So in my personal opinion is I think that we have really looked at both sides of this equation and tried to balance the best that we can, understanding that it's very difficult to make 100% of the public out there happy at any one time. So that's my opinion, commissioners. Commissioner Jenkins, do you have an opinion on this?
Well, I agree with you, Commissioner Floor. It's hard to make everybody happy, and we're balancing the best we can. The question I have is right now is I think Sean's still with us. Masks. They've now recommended the CDC that when you're outdoors, you can use a mask if you want it. It's funny how a couple weeks ago masks didn't do anybody any good. Now they've said, well, you can wear them. They actually do good. So I was wondering if the county has any for our employees that are working outdoors, and if they want to wear them, we should provide them for them. Do we in fact have any?
It's a great question. Sean, are you with us? We need to get Sean on the line here.
Mr. Mendoza, maybe.
Commissioners, Sean's asked me that I call him and put him on speakerphone, okay?
Go ahead.
Hi, Shelley.
Hey, Sean, go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, Sean. Did you get the question?
They've asked if you got the question.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Go ahead, Sean.
So, thank you. I did, yes. So,
Sean?
we do have masks for our employees. We are running low out at the transfer station, but our building inspectors do have those.
What about Golden Spike and those Parks and Recreation folks?
I don't know about Golden Spike or Parks and Recreation.
I do know that Marty and Jennifer report that they do have masks out there, but I'm going to double check to make sure that they've got an adequate supply moving forward.
So, Sean, what about the transfer station? We shut that down to the public yesterday. We had much pushback.
We shut that down yesterday. We had much pushback.
He gets a
We
little
had a
delay.
little bit of pushback. For the most part, people are understanding. We have received a couple of emails, and they've had some not so nice comments.
Doesn't surprise me. Okay.
But
Anything else?
Everything is operating okay out there, right?
Yes, everything's operating just fine.
Okay.
You know, I'm glad to know that while we've limited the transfer station, we're still picking up curbside. We made it possible so the haulers are still picking up curbside, and And so that people's residential garbage is still being taken care of. This way it allows the haulers to get in, because there's a lot more garbage being produced at the curbside than there ever has been in the past. And so, Commissioner Jenkins, I know this is your portfolio. You've done a wonderful job managing this under the circumstances, and I compliment you and all the staff keeping that essential service functioning.
So I was out to the archery building yesterday, and that continues to move along. They've got the offices and everything inside completely framed now, and the walls on the outside are up and covered. They don't have the roof on yet, but it's getting close. So that building continues to move along. It's fun to watch that.
Yeah, that's making some great progress.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all my comments.
Commissioner Harvey? Chris?
Just had a couple of things I wanted to add with your permission.
Go ahead.
The question was asked about why do we still hold these meetings? Well, under Utah's Open Meetings Act, under normal circumstances, we have an anchor location, a physical location where people can come and attend these meetings. The governor has suspended that requirement and has allowed us to meet electronically via Zoom, where all of us who are participating in this meeting are in separate locations where we're able to maintain a safe distance, but able to continue those essential county services that we can continue as much as we possibly can, maintaining a sense of normalcy. And so I think this is an example of how we can stay safe, but still move forward and get business done during a time like this. And then just to build upon Ricky's comments, that government has a fiduciary responsibility to provide essential services to our citizens. And so some of the other things that, in addition to what Ricky mentioned, was our office. I mean, we've had a number of questions from the health department, and we have to be very mindful of people's rights during this entire thing, especially if issues of quarantine come up. There's a lot of preparation, a lot of legal issues that come up. We've had a lot of issues come up with our employees where we have to modify our HR policies to protect our employees. We've had issues with the sheriff's office. What do we do to protect our inmates out there? So there's a number of concerns reasons why government has to continue functioning even during a time like this.
Yeah, good point. Thank you, Chris. Anything else, Chris?
No, just thank you for all you do, and I hope everyone stays safe, and my well wishes to everyone and to all of the residents in the county.
Appreciate all the work you do, liaison between the county and the health department. Continues on a daily, if not hourly basis, so appreciate that. Commissioner Harvey, any other comments?
None from me. Thank you, Chair Farrar.
Commissioner Jenkins?
None. Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Before we adjourn, I'm just going to make one comment. I was in a meeting earlier today, and we talked about opportunities. For many downside that we see in the economy, we see in our personal lives, we have two choices. We can either look on the positive side or we can look on the negative side. In my opinion, we now have the opportunity in today's world to see what we can do to change our individual lives, what we can do to our businesses. I think if we look on the positive side of what this brings about, we will come out of this healthier, better, and hopefully closer together. So again, we know this is tough times, but I prefer personally to look on the positive side of what we can do as a county, what we can do as a state, where we'll be in the future. So commissioners, I appreciate your day-to-day involvement. County folks, we appreciate you very much. We couldn't do without you. So with that, we've got a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye. Thank you. We're adjourned. Thanks again.
You bet.